Hello, everybody. This is Professor Bachnight coming at you live in action. I guess it's a pre-recorded action here. So today we are going to talk a little bit about the assignment that is due in 2 weeks. I changed the time for this. It's Sunday, not Wednesday. That we are going to have this due. Since I couldn't get this video up in time, I thought I'd give you a couple extra time, and this should be easy for you to do. I hope it doesn't take too long for you or it's too complicated. But as you read in chapter 1, they talked about the site planning process. And in the beginning of the site planning process, we want to use this little area right here. This is where everything really starts, right? And the first thing we need to do is programming and the site selection. Now, you can have a program first and then go find a site, or you can have a site first and then figure out a program for that site. In this assignment, we're going to come up with a program, then go find some sites, okay? So programming is basically, and that's discussed a little bit more in chapter 2 here. Programming is just the goals and objectives of the site. What do you want to do on a site? Do you want to build a solar panel manufacturing plant, or you want to do some brownfield remediation and build a new shopping mall like on that site, or put a organic waste recycling plant in there to make some compost? Or do you want to build just a simple passive solar home, or a urban farm, or on a vacant lot in the middle of the city, what have you? And that's what the programming is. So pick an idea. I gave you kind of some ideas that I like out there to build. But you can come up with your own ideas. So I put a Word document of this assignment also on Blackboard. So read through some of those ideas that I have. You don't like any of them, or have something of your own, go ahead. Maybe you want to do a storage unit, of a nice little site to put some storage units on, or maybe you want to build a car wash or whatever. All right? Just do something that you find fun. Okay, it's something that you would like to build, because I think if the more excited you are about it, the better the presentation will be, and the more you'll get involved. All right. So we have the program that I want you to create. All right, and then we got to go find some sites for that place to build. Right. So we need to find a couple places to build on, and we'll use Google Earth for this. And I'll show you how to use Google Earth here in just a little bit. And also, it also has, site inventories here. So I don't want you to go full hog wild on the site inventories, just a couple site inventories. Just a little bit of inventory for each one of those sites. The final one you do choose, though, we will expand the site inventories to make them a little bit more concrete. All right. But since you have to do 3 or 4 of these in a relatively short time frame, I don't want you getting too involved in that site inventory. Okay. And then, of course, we'll do the site analysis. And we'll wait for the site analysis until we pick which site we're going to build on. Okay? And you'll do that site analysis. You do the conceptual design. You do a little bit of design development. And this is basically where your presentation is going to stop here, your final project. We won't really get into, I won't make you do some construction documentation or project implementation. Of course, we will review what that is later on in the semester, but that's a little bit outside of the scope of this project. So I want you to, first pick out a couple different sites, all right? Choose the best one, and then expand on that one with something through the site analysis and conceptual design of that site. Okay, so that's a site planning process that we're going to work through as your project. Okay. So let's look at chapter 2. So chapter 2 is all about site selection and programming, as you can see. And I highly advise you read through that before you get started here, so you know kind of what you're doing. All right. So the first section here in the book is the programming. Like I said, the programming is just the goals and objectives, all right, of the site, what you want to do. Is it for business expansion? So the desired outcome is you want to have a manufacturing plant, or maybe you want to do a shopping mall or a shopping area, and you want to have a restaurant there, a bank there, maybe a corporate headquarters. Who's going to be a big box, anchor store for that shopping site or what have you? All right. Um, or real estate development. Is it going to be housing? Is it going to be mixed use for that real estate development? Whatever you decide, okay? So that program is just trying to figure out what's going on. And of course, when you do that, you want to try to, and they have a good example of what I'm looking for. All right. So when you do your site analysis and you do your programming, the goals and objectives, just list them right down here. I don't know if you need a total of 16 or not. It depends on what your project's going to be. All right. And it talks about the different elements, what they would need for that. All right. So the elements for a manufacturing plant is so many square feet will be needed. All right. Nice major highways around there so the trucks can get in and out with the product and all our materials and supplies. Okay. So there's different things for depending on your project of what your program elements would be. And how do you decide those program elements? It's mostly done through user needs preferences. All right, you got to find out who the stakeholders are. All right, well, the stakeholders will be hiring you, of course, but you got to know what they really want. All right, and I'm not going to make you go through a visual preference survey here. All right, but you can just think about it and realize that we want to make sure that the stakeholders are satisfied with our final project, and for them to be satisfied, we got to make sure we know what they want. Right. So this just walks you through of how to find out different ways of finding out what the stakeholders actually want to do with that site. Okay, you're not going to be required for this class to do this. All right, because we really don't have a stakeholder. It's just me with a fake $1 billion to give you to go build something. All right. But I do want you to do design precedents. All right, design precedents, just another fancy term for a case study. We got to figure out what other people have done. So if someone else has built a solar manufacturing plant, it's probably pretty a good idea that you go out and find out what they did. We don't want to reinvent the wheel per se. All right, so I think the example of the solar plant I gave you was Tesla, right? So he's built a couple, and you go out and you look and see how big his manufacturing floors are, so you know how big your building needs to be, right? How many employees he actually has. Do you have? Can those employees get to work, right? Will there be enough parking space for them? All that stuff. All right. So that's what design precedence is. And for this class, for this project, I want you to have do 3 sites, no more than 5 sites, but I also want you to do at least 3 case studies. Look at 3 other businesses that 3 other urban farms. Okay, and it's not these urban farms don't have to be successes. All right, they can be a failure. All right, and those are important things to put into your case studies. So we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we also don't want to make the same mistakes as others have done. Right? I just found out one of my favorite urban farms was closing. I was like, oh man, what happened? They're going bankrupt. And we want to avoid that bankruptcy, right? So we need to figure out what caused that so we kind of avoid that. And it might be a site issue. All right, maybe they just didn't have the demographics or the enough people out there around their site to demand that kind of food. But they were around for 20 years. I don't know what happened. Okay. And next, here's the site selection process. Okay, so this is what you're actually going to do for this assignment. You're actually going to select a site, right? So first thing you need to do is clarify the objectives, come up with the programming, what are the goals and objectives of what you want to do, all right? Select the criteria for the site, all right? So if you're building a manufacturing plant, you want to make sure that there's so many square feet for a warehouse for that. All right, you want to make sure that there's enough roads and highways for the equipment to get in and out and materials to get in and out. Those kind of things for the criteria. Okay, if you're building a passive solar home, you want to make sure that you have enough sun and it's it can be placed in the right direction. All right. Next, you want to gather data on all the potential sites in this project. I want you to do at least 3 sites, no more than 5. All right. And these sites could be anywhere in your neighborhood, or if you know someplace a little bit farther away and familiar with it, go ahead and do that, because we'll be using Google Earth to gather this data for the potential sites. And we'll go over that in just a little bit here. And then you evaluate each one, put them side by side, and then you rank them. All right. And the best site that you choose here will be the site that you will carry forward for your ending project of this class. All right. So you'll take the best of the site, the best of the best sites that you like, and then we'll expand the inventory of that site. All right. Do the site analysis and come up with some conceptual design ideas for that site. All right. And we're not going to end up doing the feasibility study. All right. We're not, that's a little bit out of the scope. That's, will take you a little bit longer and, to do. So we'll stop there, but we'll talk about feasibility studies. And, that's all part of the construction design too. How much the materials cost and can we afford it. All right. But you're not going to be doing the feasibility site part of this planning process, okay? But the feasibility too, we got to make sure that the building does have enough room, all right? So those kind of things, yes, we will decide if it is feasible that this is a good place, and that's why it makes it the best site, okay? Also in this chapter, you're going to see that it gives you a list of how to write a good site, all right? Or just an idea of it. And each one's going to be a little bit different, all right? So down here in section 2.6 of the book, it actually gives you the site selection report and how it should look. So what I want, it would be a title page, all right? Table of contents, and an executive summary. Executive summary is just a synopsis of what the reader or the viewer is actually going to be seeing, all right? So you want to take the bullet points of everything that you just put together and kind of put them in the executive summary. I typically do the executive summary last, all right, because it's basically what I just wrote here, all this stuff in a paragraph or 2. And don't make it too long. You want executive summary to be concise, all right? It just summarizes the purpose and scope of the study, okay? Then you want to do an introduction. That's where your more detailed programming will be, why you want to do it, things like that. Then you talk about the site selection process, explains the site selection criteria, all right? That's your case study, right? So why did you choose to make sure that you look for a site that was 5 acres instead of 10 acres, okay? Why did you choose to, what are some of the criteria that you needed if you're going to build that urban farm? That you want to make sure that there was enough open space, that the sunlight was going to be getting there and not covered with skyscrapers and things like that, okay? And then, of course, you're going to break down the different sites that you saw, all right? Rate them, give a little bit of brief inventory, okay? And then come up with your conclusions, all right? Any references, please make sure you reference, especially if you're citing another case study. In your case studies, you want to be able to cite those people. That's who the references are. In appendices, you won't really need that in appendix. I don't think you're going to get that detailed. That will be more in the construction and if we're going to do a more detailed site selection process. But you might have an appendix C, all right? That's just a table that's not up in here, basically, what they're talking about. And then also in the end of the book, they actually give you a case study, site selection programming, a little case study about a boathouse, right? And it goes through a little bit about what they actually did for this project. All right, so you see the project scope, gave you all that rigmarole, listed the different buildings at the different sites, how big they were, they're going to have enough room for the boats, all right? And then it gave little aerial photos of each one of the different sites and selections. You can see a little bit of inventory on these sites, okay? So they got proposed boathouse, the rigging area, dock, all these different things, okay? They also have Photos, I'm not going to ask you to do any photos. If you want to, if it's close enough to your home, go ahead, feel free, but I'm not going to ask you to go out and start taking a lot of different photos. And when you go through the site, go through chapter 2, it will talk about how you need to go to actually visit the site and do a little investigating and see how the traffic flow is and who's who and when the population shows up, when they leave, and all these different things, flow of traffic, all these different things about that site. And that just makes sense. You really want to know what's going on that site. I'm not going to ask you to do that though, but just keep that in mind. That's one of the processes if you're going to follow this as a career and become a site analysis individual. You're going to go out and watch things, watch the people, okay? Watch what goes on, all right? And then at the end, of course, it has a nice little comparing of the sites. It gives you a nice little table, all right, that they use to break it down into a little synopsis, all right? Take some of these ideas from this table, come up with some of the other ones, all right? Put your own little cost of development in there if you want to, all right? But if anybody has trouble making these tables, just contact me. I know how to make them nice and neat. I'm best at Excel, not too as efficient in Word, but making these tables are it took me a while to figure out how to get these dark lines in here and segregate things and make different shades and stuff. So maybe I can do a video for you on how to do that in Excel of all these little things to make your tables look a little bit more presentable, be able to put these little footnotes in here and stuff like that. Okay, so if anybody needs help making tables or is getting frustrated, just contact me and I'll help you out. So let's get to the real nitty gritty of this assignment here is actually selecting the sites, right? And how you find those nice little aerial photos. And for this assignment, we're going to use Google Earth. So if you don't have Google Earth, it's free it's free for use. You can just go to Google and put in Google Earth and it will download the needed software for you to run it. It's actually a web-based server out there. I already have it on here. All right, so it's has to load up, and here it is. All right, so when you first open up your Google Earth, and if they put that little icon on there for you to click on, it shows some navigation, how to navigate Google Earth. So please go through this if you have never been on Google Earth, and it kind of shows you different ways how to use the mouse and all these different things, view layers and search places and things. So if you're not familiar with Google Earth, go for it. But it's pretty straightforward. All right. So for this assignment, for this example, I am going to use, I guess, CCAC West Hills Center. See, it already started popping up. And I didn't know the exact address for CCAC West. All I did was put in CCAC West. So if there's a site out there that you don't know exactly what the address is, pick something that's close, like a school or a McDonald's or a business that you know of that's really close, and put that into the search button. And then when you zoom down into the earth, you got to hit search, that business will pop up. All right, and then you can move around and see if you can find that lot. All right. But here is the CCAC West Hills Center. This is what I do most of my in-class teaching at. That's where I do most of my in-class teaching at. It's really close to my house. So the first thing we need to do here on CCA West Hills Center lot, this is a site analysis. So we got to determine the borders of the site, right? And I have no idea what the borders are for CCAC West Center. So I'm just going to take a guess, and when you do your lot, you go ahead and guess. I'm not actually going to go out to the courthouse and read through the records to see if your lot analysis was correct. That is exactly where you find them, though. It's in the courthouse records. All right. So what you want to do is you want to come up here to add a path. All right. Now, don't hit OK yet. All right, because you want to actually draw the path first. All right, so we're going to title this CCAC West Hills. Okay, and maybe we can And don't hit OK after you do that, because it's going to move and you're not going to be able to use your ruler or your path. You have to have this open for your path, okay? To draw your path, I should say. You can put a description if you want to. I'm just going to avoid that. You can change the color. So why don't we change the color? The default's white, so why don't we use green? Green's not going to really, it might blend in too much. Why don't we use like a nice little bright purple? Purple good? Yeah, I think that'll be nice. All right. Also, let's change the width here. Let's make this 5. That one's kind of small. All right, view. We don't need to change anything else. So now we have our color and width, and we put in the name. So now we are going to draw the lot. So I am just going to assume, make an educated guess here, where this lot is. So we put a dot right there, and I'll say maybe it goes all the way over here. Yeah, that looks good. We'll bring it down to, let's say, right about here. That looks good. Come on over to the road again. Boom, that looks good. And then we'll connect it up to make the lot complete. There we go. All right. So we now have the lot. Now we'll hit OK, and everything stays there. Okay, for us. Now we got our lot. All right, of where we're gonna, I don't know, we're gonna build a sustainable building, a sustainable development research center here in CCAC, I guess. All right. So now we got the lot, and why do we want this lot? We got to define the area, but also now we can actually do some pretty neat things, or some basic stuff. All right. We can find out by hitting the ruler button right up here. Okay, this is the ruler. Brings up a ruler, and you can get the ruler in miles, in feet, inches, whatever you want. We'll do feet here. And this is important because we've got to define the lot size, right? We need to know whether or not this is big enough for a new building or a manufacturing plant or whatever. And what I usually do if I'm trying to figure out my sizes or something like this, I don't save things in Google Earth. I just open up another Excel right next to me. And when I get these dimensions, I put the dimensions in, and then I can do the length times width and all the math I need to figure out how big this lot size is. Okay, so length times width will give you the square foot, and you're going to take square feet and take it into acres. All right, something like 42,000 square feet is an acre. All right, but you can find those conversions for yourself. If anybody has in trouble converting these numbers, let me know. All right. I'll definitely guide you in the right directions. Be careful of your conversion methods. Okay, so here's the ruler, and what we're gonna do is just draw a little line right here and see how long this border is. There you go, 1,523 feet. So I would have my Excel opened up and put south border or north border, whatever one this is. I don't even know what the compass is. So this is north, right? So this would be the north border. All right, I put 5,223 feet. All right, and that takes care of that one. So we'll clear this and make a new one. So now we got the west border. I'll put 753 feet in the west border, right? And then so on for each one of these borders. So that's how you figure out how big your lot size is. And remember, some of these things are trapezoids, so you're gonna, your area will be different. All right, this is not a perfect square, so you're not gonna be able to do the length times the width or a perfect rectangle. I actually have a little triangle in here. All right, so you would have to figure out, you do your area of a triangle calculation to find that. So you would make a complete square and then find out the area of this triangle, and then there you shebang, you got your square footage or acreage of your site. Okay, so that's always good to know. When you want to keep this lot on here for your picture, because when you hand in the assignment, I need to know what your lot looks like. All right, or where it is. So here we got the CCAC. Now the good thing about Google Earth, they can do some other things for you too. You can actually click on some of these icons on the side. So you put in borders and labels. All right, I'll click on that. And borders and labels are different counties, or like if you're in Allegheny or Beaver County, or different districts or different neighborhoods. Unfortunately, here in this picture, there's no borders, but if we scroll out, we can see that we start getting some borders. All right, so this is in the middle of Oakdale. All right, and here's the Oakdale border right here, our Oakdale. All right, then they start putting in Robinson Town Center, Kennedy Township. All right, and if I unclick these, they disappear. All right, so those are your borders, and you see right here how we got the Allegheny County and Beaver County lines. All right, this green line right here. Okay, so it depends on where you are. So you might not have any borders and labels show up on your map, right? Like they're not showing up on this map, but you never know, right? I got my house has 1 acre in Allegheny County and 1 acre in Beaver, or in 30 acres in Beaver County, and I got one of those lines going right through my lot. All right. You can also hit what's called places on here, which is a good idea, and this shows the different things that are around on CCAC. All right, and it's still thinking a little bit, but you can see there's a nice little bus stop right there. That's pretty darn good to know. Help employees get in and out, or students get in and out. That's a good thing to put on your inventory. All right, right. And you can see some of these other icons that come out. So there's a church right next door, almost across the street there. All right, and then we have another business right here, Triumph Interiors. And you can see there's nothing over here on these. It's probably the same building, but nothing on here. I don't know if this is part of Interior, Triumph Interiors, or just a business that's not on Google Earth. All right, so not everything will be labeled for you. Okay, you can also, if you're interested, you can put in some photos. Okay, and these photos are pretty neat. So they got Panorama, 360 City, and Google Map photos. These photos are just if someone was at a site, like if you go to the Eiffel Tower, there's a lot of panorama photos. So if someone was there, they'll take a photo, and then they'll load it up on Google Earth, and next thing you know, shbang, you're famous, right? But Google Earth also have done some too. Okay, you can see here one showed up for the Triumph Interiors. So we'll just click on that and show you what that means. Come on, there you go. There's the photo of the outdoor. You know, when you look outside, they got a nice little pond there. So if you want to check out some photos around your site, hopefully there'll be some. All right. Here's another one right here. This one's really strange. This is red skies at night. All right. This one's not showing up. All right. This is actually from somebody. Okay. Somebody actually did that and put it up there. It was just a regular photo. All right. So let's zoom in and get a little bit better. There we go. All right. So another thing you can do is I'll click on roads, and all of a sudden we got all the roads, and they're actually labeled for us as well. Okay, McKee Road going right down here, and we see Crossroads Drive right up there. All right. So this helps out to see where all the roads are. Route 30 running right through the middle right there. Okay. We click on what's called 3D buildings. Nothing seemed to really happen there, did it? Let's see. Yeah, it still doesn't look like that's 3D, does it? Kinda. But what if we do this? We hit this little icon down here called terrain. All right, and this is going to kind of give us the topography and stuff like that. So let's see what happens. Oh, something went on, huh? So you can get a total ground view here. And oh, look, there's my site, and CCAC just totally popped up. All right, you can still see my border around here now. You see all these trees. All right. So this can help you do your site inventory and see the site a little bit better. Right now you can see how many parking lots are here, and you can say there's an upper parking lot and a lower parking lot with a slight grade in between now. It just doesn't look all flat, right? We saw also the power lines running through, right? And we can see the power lines coming through, okay? See, they're trying to build another parking lot up here. I don't even know this was here. I haven't been there for a while. Been teaching mostly online. But they're also putting another building. Maybe this is going to be the Sustainable Development Learning Center that I always want in this area. All right, and the back door, man, it's got some problems parking back here, huh? Jeez Louise, and that's that's an issue for the site. But I guess that's just the builders, the construction guys aren't allowed. All right, and it gives you, you can see all the smaller buildings on the lot as well. All right, so take a look around your lot, and this will help you do your inventory, your biological. It's like in the middle of a woodlot almost, right? And all cleared out. Okay, that is how you get to see your. Let's straighten this up. See your site on more of a ground level, right? And that helps out when you're analyzing a site, of course, right? So let us export this and put it into a Word document. So now what we want to do, and you can go through some other things too. They got that little weather icon up here, and they can also do the sun. So it'll show you how the sun goes across the land, right? So when you're doing more of your inventory, you can say, oh my goodness, there we go. Now I can figure out how the sun runs, all right? All those different things. So check out that, just tool around and have some fun on this. Google Earth. I really like it. And when we do the dimensions, these dimensions are almost right. This ruler is like spot on. All right, because when I did my land, I did this by Google Earth, and then I went out and walk and wheeled it, and I was like, man, that was exact. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. All right. So let's take a picture of this and upload this into a table here. So let's go to the Save Image icon. All right. And shebang, all these things start popping up. All right, so we got we could title it here. We'll call it CCAC West Hills Center Lot. All right. Oh, let me try to spell West correct. How's that sound? That's a little bit better, all right? And you see that, so let me correct that a little. See, I just made that a little smaller. I pressed enter by mistake, and I made that a little bit longer. Over here also has a little bit of legend, all right? I've never been able to add stuff into this legend unless we actually have things, all right, pop up on the map. It will only put what's actually in the computer from these little things, right? So here we see the legend. We got CCAC West Hills Lot right here. That's what that purple is. The marking of the thing, the road up here, McKee Road. Option of this is the bus stop, all right, and then the business that's really close, all right, and Crossroads Church. I guess that would be a business as well. All right, so it already created a nice little ledger for me. All right, and if I didn't want any of these on here, so I could take out the bus stop like that, and behold, it's gone. I'll put the legend. Okay, we'll put that back in. All right, so you can take it, edit this a little bit, but it won't do it unless you have these little things over here actually checked. Okay, and it won't stay in your legend. All right, so let's make sure that we got this nice and center where we want to, center of attention of this lot. Nice little view, not too far out, not too far in. Next thing we want to do is press Save Image. So we'll save this image, and this will actually put it on your computer. This first icon just created the image, all right, that they were going to transfer, and then you got, like I said, you can edit it a little bit, make sure it looks okay, and now you actually save it when you hit up here. And you can also change your resolutions if you wanted to. Different options. I put a legend, the scale, the compass on here. So these are all checked. All right. We want to make sure that we know where north is. We want to know the scale. All right. And title and description. Okay. So here's the scale down here. And north is this way. All right. So let's save this image. Right, as one I already did. So I'm going to call this CCAC West Hills Campus, and I'll just overwrite that one. Alright. So I'm just going to overwrite the one I already have. Alright, so now we got our picture. Alright, and I hope you like Google Earth. It's a fun to use, it's free, and have fun with it. Okay? So, but how do you get this into a Word document? No, that's even easier, folks. Alright? Let me open up a Word document for us. We'll get that up, going. So we open up a blank Word document, and you know this could be your project. So you have your introduction, your executive, your table, your cover page. Then you'll have your table of contents, and then you will have your executive summary. Okay, on different pages. Okay, and then you'll start doing your site analysis and stuff. So we want to insert that picture, right? So hit down the insert tab, grab your pictures, and let's see here, where would I put this? I think I put this in there. It is, site planning. Okay, and we're gonna insert this shebang. There it is, right? And we're going to, let's take this out of inline text, and we're going to do it in front of text. And then when we do that, we can move it around the page. Okay, so now you can move it a little bit easier on how you do that. Now, and of course up here, you know, you would have all your executive summary and stuff right here. And now when you're evaluating the sites, here's your little pictures. Okay. And you know, we can put in a little table about the inventory. Just go insert a little table, and we'll make this so big, and you know, say, you know, parking lots, five, you know, one upper, one lower, right? Or say, what is it? It's more like a 4 upper and 1 lower on that site there. All right, wooded lot, bus stop, one, things like that. All right. So my suggestion to you too is also to go through on Google and on, like he talks about in that last video, he talked about looking on Pinterest at site analysis things, all right, of programs and site analysis, and see how they did theirs, all right. And I'm not going to make you draw because I'm a terrible drawer. I'm just going to make you use Google, all right. But you can look at some of their tables that they created on theirs, all right, and see what you can do. All right, and like I said, if you need some help on these tables, how to create one or whatever, let me know. Okay, because I know what the table properties are, and we are actually, where is this? If I wanted to pick out a border style, I could change this and just two different color. Oh, I just do border style. We'll change this to a little bit thicker maybe, and make them green. All right, so dress up your little your table a little bit. All right, so if you guys have any questions on this assignment, just let me know, and I will glad to help you out. But for now, I think that's probably a pretty good basis of what I'm expecting for this class, or for this first project. And remember, you do a good job on this, you just kind of take it right on over to your final presentation. Okay, so this is just the beginning of putting all that together, and as we go through class, we'll put in one more section, another section, and another section. Wow, you'll be done. All right, So I hope you enjoy this assignment and have some fun with it, okay? And do something that you like, all right? Something that interests you. That's the key, all right? Until next time, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.